So I just thought doing this, the partner stretches would be good since we all have people around us, or hopefully we have people around us. So the important things to remember when you're doing partner stretches is that your lockdown partner, hopefully you down partner, yeah. Also too that you have a good you're communicating well with your lockdown partner too, because you have to know each other's limitations, how far you can go. So it's very important that we have this open level of communication as we're doing this. Then thirdly, optionally, hopefully your lockdown partner took a shower today. Did you take a shower? So anyway, the sequence that and the poses that I picked today are really, there's so many great partner stretches to do, but I picked a few that we can do safely at home without the direct guidance of an instructor with you. So again, that's why it's important to trust your partner and talk to your partner as we're going through it. With that being said, let's begin. We'll start seated back to back. So feel free to sit on a prop if you'd like. Don and I each have a pillow to sit on. You can sit on a block or maybe even roll a blanket underneath your seat and just sit comfortably. You decide if you want to cross at your legs, if you want to bend at your knees, maybe extend the legs forward. Maybe if you've got an extra prop like an animal in the way, you'll have to make do. But we'll sit up against each other nice and tall, maybe even feeling the backs of our heads touch. And then just close your eyes down and just start to feel maybe the warmth of your partner's back against your back. And then just start to recognize your breath and your partner's breath. And maybe you can start to link your breath together. So you'll inhale together. And you'll exhale together. Slow and steady. No formal movement or pranayama, just matching the breath together, starting to match the energy. Go ahead and now simply blink your eyes open. We're going to extend our arms out like airplane arms to the side and then touch each other's hands. So it could be palm to palm, maybe touching one partner touching the back of the hand. And then we'll take a side stretch. I'm going to move to the right, so it means Don's going to move to the left. And then we'll reach the top arm up and alongside the ears. We're leaning in the same direction. Feel free to fix your gaze wherever it's comfortable for you. If you want to look upward towards the sky or even look downward towards your hand that's touching the floor. Together we'll use an inhale to come through center with those airplane arms nice and wide. And then we'll go ahead and take that side stretch in the other direction. Reaching up and over alongside the ear. Again, fixing the gaze that feels best for you. On the inhale, we'll come up through center. Now place your right hand onto your own right thigh. Take your left hand to reach back to reach for your partner's right leg. Once you've got that connection, use an inhale. We'll lengthen our spine together. Then as you exhale, go ahead and rotate open. Maybe gazing past your own left shoulder. Take one. Go ahead and use the exhale, release the twist, and we'll switch out. So place your left hand onto your own right leg. Reach your right arm back to find your partner's left leg rather. Once again, inhale, get more length. And then exhale, use it to rotate open. I don't know about you, but I've been doing a lot of practicing lately, but for some reason, I feel like I've been sitting a lot, so it kind of helps to use a partner to just unravel a lot of the tightness that started to build up into our bodies. Let's use that exhale. We'll unravel this, and from here, we're going to move into a forward fold. Look up there, forward fold and into a back bend. So I'm going to ask Don to place his feet flat with his knees bent. And he's going to be doing a back bend on me as I'm doing a forward fold. Now watch first. I can do this pose keeping my legs crossed and folding forward, but I'm going to give you the option to maybe extend the legs out just a little wide as well, where you fold right in between your legs, right? So again, know that that's an option for you. So again, choose which one's going to be the back bender. Now as the back bender starts to lean back up against me, I'm going to walk my arms forward very slowly. Again, this is where you're going to have to really communicate with your partner. Let them know when it's that time you have to pause. Now I can already feel Don's really enjoying this back bend, that he's applying probably a little bit too much weight on me. So I'm going to back off a little, so it's going to signal Don not to apply so much weight. And then he's going to actually play around with his arms a bit. He can reach them overhead. He can play with cactusing out through the arms. And because I know I can probably move a little bit deeper, slowly together, as he moves deeper into the back bend, I'll start to move forward a little bit into my forward fold. And see if we can hold this just for maybe 2 more rounds of breath. To exhale out of the pose, match the breath. We inhale together. Walk your hands in if you're in that forward fold. If you're in that back bend, slowly come back up. All right, let's switch out. So Don will either sit crossed at his legs, maybe take his legs wide, and I'm going to switch, bringing my feet flat, knees to the sky. Again, keeping our back bodies connected. You ready? With an exhale, I'll start to lean back against him. Again, just communicating, are you good? Do you need more? He wants more, so I'm going to lean back more. And then once you're kind of set, I'll hold here. Again, I can reach the arms back. Oh, get a nice big stretch. Maybe even cactus out the arms. One last breath. To exit, we together inhale, still keeping the spines or our back body connected as we slowly come out. All right, nice job. All right, we're going to go ahead and turn towards each other. Hey, Barry, I don't think have I met you, Barry? No. Good to see you. All right, so we're going to turn and face each other, crossed at the legs. Once you sit crossed at the legs, right, if you can. Now, if it's too uncomfortable for you, you can always sit on your shins too. But we're going to sit as close as we can towards each other, right? All right, then from here, take your right hand to your partner's right forearm. Then swing your left arm behind the back. Option 1, you can tent the fingertips right on behind you. Option 2, create a full bind, wrap that arm all the way behind the back. Now, once you're here, I can see that Don and I have bent elbows. So you want to straighten the arm as much as you can. So maybe even reach upward towards your partner's upper arm, above the elbow. Just make sure that you're not touching the elbow joint at all. Then once we're set here, go ahead and open your chest to the left as you're just holding on to each other. Continue to breathe deeply. Last moment. Use your exhale, we'll unravel that, and we'll switch out. So you can start forearm to forearm, left forearm to left forearm. Swing your right hand, anchor it at your seat, option 1. Second option, again, if you can go just a little bit deeper, reach for that upper arm bone. Again, that hand can stay on the mat, or if you'd like, create that bind. There you go, Darlene. And then open up through the chest. You can gently just kind of pull upon each other, help leverage maybe a little bit more of that rotation. One more breath. And then we'll unravel that. Facing each other still, you're going to come into reclined butterfly pose. So you have to scoot back just a bit and then bring the soles of your feet together to touch with your knees out wide. So once you're here, you're going to reach forward. Again, reach forearm to forearm. Decide who's going to fold first. So I'm going to have Don fold forward first. So he's going to start to hinge from the hips as I lean back. Now the important thing here is both our arms are straight as Don is leaning forward. Again, communicate with your partner. Know where his stop point is. Are you good here?
A little bit more.
A little bit more.
Right there.
So right here. Now that we found this stopping point, rather than adding tension into my shoulders and upper back, as he's holding me, this is the trust, I can lean back a little bit, maybe even let my head fall back. And then now I'm getting a nice big stretch and opening in my front body. One more breath. Again, we use the inhale to slowly come up together. And then exhale, just release that for a moment before we switch. All right, and then from here, go ahead and reach for forearm to forearm again. This time I'm gonna fold forward as Don leans back, so nice and slow and steady. I'll hinge from my hips, extending my heart center forward. Again, communicating with your partner where the stop is. Here's my stop, I think this is good. And then once you're holding onto each other and trusting each other here, Don can maybe passively let his head fall back. Enjoy his stretch as I'm enjoying my stretch. You should definitely feel this into your inner thighs. Maybe you'll feel it more into your lower back. One more deep breath. Together on an inhale, we'll come out of our pose and exhale to release. All right, from here, keep your left leg bent. Bring your right leg out diagonally to the side. So coming into this Pavrita Janu Shirsasana, you're still facing each other. Left leg bent, right leg to the side. Place your right hand onto your own left leg. Inhale, reach your left arm up, and then start with a side stretch on your own towards your extended leg. Just start with that. Your hand that's on your bent leg, you can actually push it downward so you can actually feel just a little bit more space into your left side waist. Now to add our partner, take your right arm, again, forearm to forearm, and then gently start to just again lean your torso back just slightly so you can leverage a little bit more rotation. Don likes to bend his elbow. You can let that top arm stay straight. So you can start to rotate your right chest towards the sky. One more breath. Again, the inhale is what takes us out, and then exhale, release that. So we'll switch out now. So bend your right knee, take your left leg out diagonally to the side, and then once you're here, start with your own side stretch first. Left hand onto your own right leg, reach your right arm up, and extend it alongside the ear. A nice big side stretch opening. And I get out of all that crunching into our spine, probably from sitting a lot. And then from here, staying in the side stretch, we'll reach left forearm to left forearm, grab that grip. And again, you can use that as a way to find a little bit more rotation as your left rib cage, left chest turns upward towards the sky. Oh, I cracked. Together on an inhale, we come out of the pose. Exhale, slowly release that. So from here, I'm going to ask Don to actually remain seated. And I'm going to walk around to his back. So one partner will come behind and one partner in front. Now I'm going to ask Don just to come into any seated position that's good for him. So if you want to switch over there. Yeah. No, you're fine. So then Don's going to reach his arms up overhead and then grab for opposite elbows. So from here, I'm going to keep my feet, my stance wide, and then I'm going to walk in close so that my thighs act like a wall right against his spine, right? So he's supported rather than kind of hunching into the spine or rounding inward, right? So then as I'm still connected to his back, where I feel my thighs up against his shoulder blades, here I'm now going to grab a hold of his upper arm bones, right at the triceps. The action here is I'm going to now lift the arms upward towards the sky. At the same time, I'm going to just gently press my thighs up against his shoulder blades. Now his task is to make sure that his front ribs hug in towards his back ribs and making his core center strong. So you should feel this. This is a nice stretch in your side waist. Yeah. Let's keep holding here, breathing here. Another 3, 2, And then release that slow and unravel. You can stay, maybe give your partner a little shoulder rub. Yeah, don't get too used to that. And then we'll just go ahead and switch out. So you'll notice here, Don's probably not going to stand. Instead, he's going to kneel just because we have a height difference, right? So again, adjust whoever you have back home to kind of create the same action. So it's basically the same, but of course he's just a lot taller. So he's my imaginary wall. His torso, his legs are acting as that wall so I can sit a little bit more upright. So if you're with me, we'll inhale, reach the arms up, grab for opposite elbows. Once you're here, my partner now, Don, will reach for my upper arms through the triceps. Go ahead and the partner will lift the arm bones up. At the same time, if Don wants to, he can gently press his torso and thighs back against my back body a little bit. Again, if you're receiving this stretch, think about your low ribs hugging close towards your back ribs a little bit more. Nice extension through the sides of your body. So you can hold for another breath. And then we'll slowly exhale, release that. And then don't forget, give your partner a little extra love there. Yeah. All right, beautiful. All right, so our next couple poses are actually standing. So come onto your feet. So face each other. And then from here, reach forward and grab for your partner's shoulders. I'm going to forward fold here. So I advise you to take your feet a little wide, maybe about sit bones distance, maybe a step wider than that. And then a soft bend in the knees as we start to walk our feet back. And then start to hinge at the hips. So we're going to fold halfway, much like Ardha Uttanasana, that halfway lift. Again, keep your knees bent so you're not straining into your hamstrings. Now, once you've found your position, we're lying flat like we can actually lay a tablecloth over our back bodies here. And then to add a little bit more in through this stretch, if you'd like, again, just determine if you can feel it. Start to step back. Now, I can feel this may have been a bit too far for us, so I'm going to step forward. And then from here, once we're set, keep your feet planted, those knees are bent, the core is engaged. Now start to reach your sit bones back, your tailbone back. Keep holding onto your partner's shoulders. Breathe it deep. Now don't release, you might fall back from here. So walk your feet forward a bit. Start to come out of the bend or the hinge. And release. All right, still facing each other. We're going to come into a chair pose on our legs. And I suggest that you actually take your feet at the same stance. So bend your knees and sit into your chair. All right. From here, same thing. Right forearm to right forearm. And we're going to add a twist to this. So reach your left arm back behind you. Now, you can see our elbows are bent, so that means we're kind of too close. So we're both going to walk it back evenly. And then again, as you're here, sit back against your chair, pull your tailbone back, and then rotate to look towards your left. Maybe you can find that left thumb. You can see how trust is a factor here, because if someone let go, someone's going to fly back. Hold. One more breath. Push into your feet. Inhale, come up. Exhale, release that. Shake it out if you need to. And then we'll switch our sides. All right, so from here, go ahead and bend your knees like chair. Left forearm to left forearm. Find the twist. Open up that right arm. Gaze towards your thumb. Again, if the elbow is bent, walk it back so the arm is straight. As you're set here, again, sit into your chair, pulling your sit bones back. And you should feel you're pulling against each other here to open up a little bit more. Breathe. Another 3, 2. Inhale, press the legs straight. Exhale, release. Okay, so the next few poses will be done on just one person first. So I'm going to have Don turn a little bit on a slight diagonal so you can kind of see him for a bit. So again, choose who's going to be what. He's going to be the receiver as I'm the giver. So the receiver will interlace the fingers behind the back. And then bend at the elbows and tuck the fists outside of your right hip. Right? So as the giver, first of all, I want to just kind of see that his shoulder line is kind of straight here, right? Rather than kind of moving to one side. So if I need to, I'm going to read. Then as the giver, hold on to the upper arms of both arms. Now, the only one that's going to move, or you'll move, is this one that's winged out. So hold that arm and start to draw it in towards the midline. Again, communicate with your partner if that's enough. Is it good? Good. So now the receiver can drop the right ear to the right shoulder. There you go. Do you feel that stretch in the left side of your neck? Nice. So it's important here too is that the receiver is not dumping into the low back, like you'd feel like your butt sticking out. So make sure your belly's pulled in. Hold for a few moments. Beautiful. And then we'll release that. Still keep the hands interlaced. So now we can just switch that. Place the fist just towards the left outer hip. Again, you can see if actually you turn this way, it's a tight side for Don, and that's what I was talking about. It's kind of on this little diagonal. So if I can, I'm just going to just readjust that a bit, all right, so you can see that his spine is aligned. Again, holding those upper arm bones. This one is just like more of a stabilizer, but the left hand that's holding the left upper arm, that's what's going to work and draw that arm into the midline. Again, talk to your partner. Is this enough? It's good. So now we can add that next stretch. Drop the left ear to your left shoulder. Yes. One more breath. Don will take his head to center and then release that. Staying as is. He's got another stretch. He's going to place his hands flat against the sacrum. If you're not sure where the sacrum is, think about the waistband of your own pants. It's a good way to kind of figure that out. And it's flat, it's bony, and it's right above your glutes. When I have Don point his fingertips downward towards his glutes in this position. So you see the same action of this winged out arms. So now I'm going to take both of those upper arms, again, nice and slow and steady, communicating with your partner. I'd like you to kind of move this way a bit. And then I'm going to draw those arms into the midline. Again, talking to him, do you need more? He wants more. And this is his stopping point. All right, and then just hold this for a few breaths. Again, he's not just enjoying receiving the stretch, but again, he doesn't want to dump into the low back. Hold. And then we exhale. Slowly release that. Go ahead and just shake your arms out. We good? Good. All right, well, now it's my turn. So let's switch up partners. I'm going to start here, again, interlacing the fingers behind the back. Bend at the elbows. Slide your fists to your right hip. Now the giver, again, hold those upper arms. Again, notice if, again, I have a tight right shoulder, so I kind of felt that already. So I'll have Don kind of readjust that just a bit. Then holding the upper arm bones, the left hand is just stabilizing that left arm, and the right hand on that upper arm is drawing that right elbow to my midline. Again, you don't want to dump into your low back if you're receiving the stretch. Once you found your stopping point, tell your partner, this is good. And now those receiving will drop the right ear to the right shoulder. So you should feel a nice stretch into the left side of your neck. Take another breath. Start with the head, lift it back to center. Keep the hands interlaced and then tuck the fists over toward your left hip this time. Again, notice if you're kind of wonky in the spine, adjust it if you need to. The giver will hold the upper arm bones and then start to draw the left arm towards the midline. Again, if you're receiving, so you can keep your core engaged, front ribs hug in. The last element of it, once you find your stopping point, drop your left ear to your left shoulder. And we'll slowly inhale, bring the head to center. Exhale, release that. And then from here, now both arms, I'll place my hands flat against the sacrum. Again, you'll feel it. It's flat, it's bony right above your glutes. Just kind of anchor there, fingertips down. Same arm position here. So now Don's going to reach for the upper arm bones and draw the arms back. And then that for me is my stopping point without adding extra tension into my traps, that area right at the upper back and at the shoulders. So again, hold, breathe deeply, enjoy that stretch. Last breath. And then slowly release that. If you receive the stretch, give it a good shake. All right, we good? So now we're going to add a couple more standing poses. So this one, though, is going to be back to back. So in fact, if you have a prop near you, like a block, so actually, Don, if you place a block just in front of your nose, and then I'll take a block too. And I'll place it over here. So we're going to forward fold, but we're going to fold together. Obviously, there's a height difference, but you're going to try and stay connected at your, let's just say this area. Eventually in the fold, it'll be pretty much sit bone to sit bone. So take your feet about, again, that sit bone's distance. And then we'll fold forward together, hinge from the hips, start to bend the knees. You'll notice here that you might have to walk the feet forward, but still keep your bums connected. And then reach down for your prop first, right? And you'll know, okay, this is good. I need the prop to keep me here. Otherwise, you can ditch that prop and then continue that fold forward toward your legs. So just letting your torso dangle. You can gently move your head right to left, side to side, maybe up and down. Then if you feel pretty confident, and again, you think your partner, you feel good and you're stable there, Don? All right. So an option here now is to reach back for your partner's forearm to forearm or hand to hand. All right. And then once you're there, gently draw your torso towards each other, towards your legs a little bit more. Now, so important here that the giver and the receiver move at the same rate, right? So that we don't fall. And again, we're trusting each other, we're holding, breathing together. Know if this is not for you and it's a bit too advanced, your hands are just anchored on blocks and you're just dangling over your legs. Beautiful, guys. Let's release our hands here, but stay in the fold. Maybe bring your hands to a block so you've got some support as you now take your feet out wider. So almost like a wide-legged stance this time. Then once you've got your wide stance, soft bend in both knees, fold forward again in between your legs. Hang out here with your hands on the blocks if you need to. Or if you can manage the balance together, this time you'll reach in between your legs, reaching for the same arm, hand to hand or forearm to forearm, just depending on the depth that you're moving. Again, staying steady with the breath, trusting each other that you're giving and receiving at an equal rate. Last breath. Release gently so you don't fall back. Bring your hands to the floor or towards your block. Toe heel to feet back in closer where you were in that forward fold. Bend both knees. Bring your hands to your hips, or if you need to, reach back, grab a hold of your partner so you can come up together. Inhale, press up. Exhale, release. All right. Last little standing element that we'll do here. Watch first so you decide if you want to do this or not. Okay, so we're still back to back. What we'll do is that we'll lock at our elbows, elbow to elbow. Again, watch first before we do this. I do not want anyone at home to get hurt. Don is going to bend his knees a bit and start to hinge and create a forward fold. As I'm still gripping onto him, I lean back against him. Eventually, depending on how far he folds, maybe you'll see my feet lift off the ground. All right, and then to come up together, inhale up, nice and slow and steady. Make sure the person folding has the bent knees. Good? Want to give it a shot? All right, lock up those forearms. This time I'm going to hold on. Don't worry, I can hold them. I'm strong. So lock at the forearms. Again, keep your feet wide, bend your knees, always support your back. Those of you hinging, like I'm going to hinge forward, knees bent, core strong. Like Don, if you're receiving, lean back. Maybe the feet touch or they're hovering, hold. And slowly inhale, come out of the pose. You good? Yeah, Darlene. Look at that. Darlene's holding very. Awesome. All right. If you didn't switch partners, maybe switch partners and do that. I'm not sure if you did that with when Don was doing it. And then after you've done that, we're actually going to come down onto the mat. And I'll have Don come into a child's pose. So in this child's pose, Don is going to be receiver, and I'll be the giver. Now, these are a couple child's pose variations, and if you're a teacher, this is something that I always have in my back pocket and my repertoire of adjustments. So for me, my feet wide and knees bent so that I've got a strong foundation. If you're the receiver of this, go ahead and receiver, Don, will grab for my ankles. And then really grip your giver's ankles. As the giver, I'm going to start to walk back slowly. Now, you'll see Don looks like, he's actually looks more like in a puppy pose because he doesn't have much flexion in his knees. So your child's pose might be where your hips are on your heels. So your job is to keep your hips still heavy to the heels as your partner is walking back, holding on. And Don just said that's his good point, right? Now, because he's in this particular position of his torso, I want to make sure that his belly is drawing up against his spine, so he's not going to dump into the lumbar. So you can hold this. Again, I'm pulling weight back as he's drawing his sit bones towards his toes. To add to this, option only, I'm going to hinge forward so I can now touch his back body lightly and then walk my hands up to the sacrum. Remember that flat bony part around his waistband? Once my palms are flat on the sacrum, I'm going to gently press down and towards his toes as my heels are reaching back. So the action is tractioning. I'm pressing towards his toes as my heels reach back. Are we good? Good. To release, if you're the giver, slowly walk the hands along their back body nice and gently. Bend your knees deeply and then press out of the pose. I'm going to ask Don to stay in child's pose though, because there's another adjustment for this I'd like to show, and you can try it too. So this particular one, again, remember, Don's doesn't have much flexion in the knees, so his hips are higher than well, not a lot of us or some of us, and that's perfectly normal. So if you're the giver, I want you to go ahead and just kind of straddle his hips. And then you'll widen your legs, and then you'll vice grip his outer hips. All right, so he's not going anywhere. He's staying here. In fact, as I'm vice gripping him, I'm doing the same action I was doing with my hands earlier. So I'm pulling his hips back towards his toes. Now, once he's here, I can just probably come here and give him a nice little massage, go up towards his shoulder blades, up towards his neck, giving a little love. But for me, for my purposes, I won't stay long just so I can get some too, right? So feel free to kind of do that. There you go. And then you can release out of that. So anytime this, know that we're going to actually post this on YouTube too. So you can play this over with your partner. You can pause it and maybe hold these particular poses a little bit longer too. So now, actually, Don, I would like you to sit back down again. So still with the giver, which is Don, I'm going to have him sit into a seated butterfly pose. So the soles of the feet will come together and the knees will come out wide. As the giver, I'll be behind. So come behind him. And if you can manage it, I'm going to actually place just something behind him for some cushion for myself. Do you want something for yourself too? Okay. And this same action, kind of like that last child's pose variation, I'm going to walk in a little bit, taking my knees wide, and then I'm going to, again, vice grip into his hips with my inner legs. And actually come to my toes here so I'm not so curled under. So I'm going to keep his hips stable. Now all Don's going to do is just fold forward. All right, so fold. So I'm squeezing in, keeping his hips stable. Now to really increase the stretch for his inner thighs, and I advise you to go very gently and talk to your partner. Place your hands flat right at the about mid-thigh towards in the inner thigh. And then, again, just moving slowly, apply gentle pressure, pressing down against the legs. And then, again, talk to your partner. Is that good? He says that's good. So I'll just stay right here. And he's just going to breathe deeply. Hold for another 3, 2, and 1. Release gently out of the pose, and then come out. So now I will be the giver, and we switch partners. Don will be the receiver, or the giver. No, I'm sorry, I'm the receiver. He's the giver. So switch out, and we'll start with the child's pose. Right? So any variation of the child's pose, big toes touch, knees wide, but extend your arms forward. Then if you're the one doing the giving, which is Don here, take your feet out wide and then bend the knees and make sure that you've got you're planted firmly against the mat. Those of you in child's pose like me, reach forward, grip the ankles, hold them tightly as you bow your head down in your child's pose. I'm going to keep my head lifted just so you can hear me in these next few cues. So from here, I'm reaching my hips to my heels, and then Don can start to walk his feet back slowly to really find that extension through the sides of my body. And here I'm going to say, that's good. So now as you're set in your pose, Don can just stay here. Then you have that option as the giver, keep your knees bent, hinge at your hips so you can lean forward, gently walk your hands along your partner's back body up towards the sacrum. Again, place the palms flat against the sacrum, about the waistband. Feel the palms flat against that flat part of the sacrum. Then the giver will gently press down and towards the toes as the heels, the feet are reaching in the opposite direction. So if you're receiving this stretch, simply breathe deeply and enjoy the stretch. One more breath. Starting with the giver, walk your hands back in, bend the knees generously, and slowly come up. Release your partner's ankles, stay in child's pose, and now Don will walk around. Take his feet out wide. Then he'll vice grip my outer hips with his calves. Again, it's all depending on the height and where your partner is. And then as he's holding that, he's at the same time kind of shifting weight towards his heels. So he's pulling my hips towards his feet or towards my toes a bit more. Then just optional or required, give your partner a little massage into the back, into the shoulders, just a little extra love. Right. Saying, oh, I'm so grateful that I get to be locked down with you. Another breath. And then the receiver, again with that bend in the knees, slowly come up to stand. And then if you're in child's pose, make your way out and then you'll sit down, coming into that butterfly Baddha Konasana, soles of the feet together and knees wide. And then just sit comfortably, so you don't necessarily have to have the heels so close to your sit bones. Then from here, Don's going to reach down. Actually, I don't know if you want to come down on your knees and shins. And then he'll use his inner knees to just, again, create that little vice grip in my hips. If you're in the same position as me, the receiver, start to hinge from your hips. Let your heart space guide you forward. So you're really reaching forward and down to come into that fold. Then once you're set your way, hold that. And if you want more of that inner thigh stretch, I'm going to ask Don to place the hands on my inner thighs. Avoid the knee. Palms flat if you can, please. That feels better. There you go. And then again, gentle pressing down against. And then try not to pulse here. You just want to apply just kind of just nice ease into it to feel that stretch. Couple more breaths. Beautiful. Then to come out, again, you don't want to just come out quickly. You want to ease out of it so then me as the receiver doesn't experience any pain, all right? All right, so from here, now the next few poses where one partner is going to be down on the back. So I'm going to ask Don now to lie down on his back. Can we just actually adjust this mat, please? And you'll face me, so turn around, bring your feet towards me. There you go. And then I'll have Don lay down on his back. So now Don's going to be the receiver. I'm going to be the giver. There's going to be a few poses here before we switch out. But the first one here, I'm going to ask Don to lift his right leg up straight in the air. The left leg, optional. Either you can extend it out straight or maybe he can bend at the knee. In fact, I want you to bend at the knee. And maybe that'll be good for you as well because it'll actually keep your sacrum kind of pressing down against the mat pretty evenly. Now, from here, first we're going to do is just create some flexion and extension through the ankle. So just hold on to your partner's foot and just guide it to point the toes to the sky. And then just flex that foot. Right? And then just simply point it, extension from the ankle, and then flexion at the ankle. One more time. Point, flex. Now I'm going to keep your partner's foot at flexed, right? You as the giver, take your right hand. See this area here between your thumb and the index finger? It's kind of like the J portion of the hand if you see that. Take that J portion and kind of hook it at your partner's heel, right? So right hand hooks at the heel. Left forearm is now going to rest onto the back of the sole of the foot. And then the J of that hand that's holding the heel, I'm going to lift it upward as my left forearm presses down. All right, so talk to your partner and say, is this enough? And if he doesn't feel enough, maybe even start to draw that leg a little closer towards his torso. And again, if you're receiving, make sure your breath is moving steadily, very deeply. One more breath. If you're giving, step out of the pose slow. Release your forearm off the foot, release the hand, but then help your partner bend at the knee, and then the one receiving is going to cross ankle over knee for a reclined pigeon pose. Okay, so creating this number 4. Now, if you're receiving, lift your left foot off the mat, and then you'll take the foot to place it flat against your own right thigh. Now, step your left foot back for just a moment. So I've got my right leg forward, left foot back, and his foot is against my thigh bone. Now, you can just gently just maybe press that leg in towards him. That might suffice, right? Again, talk to your partner. See if that's okay. You can go a step further, which I know Don can go, and you can join me too. I'm going to hold the foot that's on my leg just so that we're together. I'm not going to lose him. Step your own foot slightly forward, again, keeping that wide stance. So now I have more leverage to lean forward. So when you hinge forward, one hand will hold that knee, other hand will hold the foot. Now, as your right leg is pressing forward, you can hold his knee or her knee and draw it towards you. Right? So again, you're pressing into his left foot, his or her left foot, the receiver. As at the same time, you're holding on to your giver or your receiver's knee and bringing it towards you. Take another breath. Again, this is a great adjustment for if you are a teacher. Again, the release is slow. If you're holding on to the hand and the knee, let that go first. Keep your knees bent. Come up to straighten out. Walk your feet back. And then from here, we're still staying. And I'm going to ask Don to now extend that left leg forward. And then he's going to keep his right knee bent, but now I'm going to help guide that knee. Again, placing the foot against the thigh, that's important too. I'm going to just guide this knee towards his chest. Again, remember, he doesn't have much flexion, so this is as far as it will go. Maybe some of you will be able to get your partner's thigh up against the rib cage, which is fine. I'm going to actually step my right foot outside his left leg. That gives me a bit more leverage. You can try that too and see if that works. Again, breathe deeply. Last moment. Now we're going to keep our partner's knee still bent, but then back up just a bit and then guide this leg over the body to create a twist. So crossing that leg over. I'm going to ask Don to extend his arms to the side, kind of avoid the dog as much as possible. You as the giver, see this, the right rim of the pelvis right up here? Place your hand right at the rim of the pelvis. You'll feel like, oh, I've got like a good kind of anchor point to place the hand there. So keep that hand there. Step into your partner so your left hand will come right at the shoulder, the head of the shoulder, not around the chest or the rib cage, right up at that shoulder. Then the action is, as your hand that's holding the rim of the pelvis, pull that towards his toes. Then the hand that's on the shoulder, gently press that down. Again, talk to your partner. Is that good? Does that feel nice? Again, hand on the shoulders, pressing down to ground the right shoulder, shoulder blade. And the hand on the pelvis is pulling it towards his toes. Now, one more breath. And then we slowly, again, take the grip off slow and release. Go ahead and hug your knees into the chest. He's still staying here because he's got two legs, right? Don't worry, we'll get our chance too. All right, so you're going to start left leg straight in the air. We'll keep that right knee bent just to stabilize the pelvis. Start here, just flexion, extension of the foot. So help that person point and flex, point and flex. Then we'll keep our partner's foot fairly flexed. Again, from here, I want you to take the J part of your left hand, hook it at the heel and get that good grip, right? Then it's your right forearm that gently presses down against the ball mound of the foot. So as my right forearm's pressing down against the foot, the hand that's holding that heel is pulling that heel upward at the same time. Again, talk to your partner. Is that good? He says it's good. And make sure your breath, if you're receiving, your breath is deep and steady. Last moment. Get a gentle release out of that. Go ahead and bend your partner's knee. Reclined pigeon. Cross the ankle over your right thigh. Then, as the receiver, lift your right foot up. And then you'll place the right foot against the thigh bone. Again, left foot forward, right foot back to begin. Because we have different sides. So maybe this side, just doing this suffices for your partner, right? And you're just kind of moving your weight in towards them. If you can move further, I advise you to step your back foot forward now. So now you've got a little stronger stance. Hold their left knee with your right hand. Hold the foot with your other hand. Again, as the action here is you're just guiding their knee towards you, and then you can move your left thigh forward to move their leg towards themselves. Again, holding and breathing deeply. Let's go for one more moment. Again, release the knee and the foot first. Walk back and then release that. Go ahead and straighten your partner's right leg out. Keep that left knee bent. Place it against that left foot against your right thigh, and then walk forward. Again, step your left foot just outside so you're straddling that leg so you've got a little bit more leverage. Again, depending on the flexion at the knee, again, I'm going to start to shift my weight forward, holding the shin, not at the knee joint. So hold the shin if you need more of that leverage. And then I'm just going to start to just lean into him gently so he's got that stretch. He'll definitely feel it right in through his inner groins, inner thighs. Last breath. All right, we're going to keep the knee bent, but I want you to, as the giver, back off a little bit so you can guide them into a spinal rotation. So take that knee and just cross it over to the right. If you're receiving, extend the arms out wide or cactus them out. All right, so the adjustment here too, locate that top rim of the pelvis, and you got that instant little place for your hand to hook onto and hold. And then your right hand is going to reach or press down against the shoulder head. Again, not the chest or the ribs, right at the shoulder head. The hand that's on the shoulder head presses down to keep it anchored. The hand here at the rim of the pelvis, you're going to draw the pelvis towards your partner's toes. So really you're kind of helping to traction out a little bit more of the side waist opening and into the low back. And there's so many great ways to actually add to this, but you're at home and I want everybody just to enjoy a safe twist and adjustment. We'll take one more breath. Again, as the giver, release your hands gently, keep your knees bent as you slowly come out. From here, go ahead and as the receiver, I want you to come into a happy baby, please. All right, so rated G. Simply place your hands flat on your partner's feet and then just press downward so you can guide those inner thighs towards their outer ribs. Last breath. Beautiful. Go ahead and now hug both knees into your chest. Hold that for a moment. And then as the giver, hold on to their ankles of each leg. Each hand holds an ankle. Straighten out their legs. Oh, I forgot one more thing. Actually, will you please bend at your knees, set the feet flat for a moment? My bad. So I'm going to actually place either a blanket, I have a pillow, or even a block in between the receiver's inner thighs. I'm going to place this pillow just so it'll be more comfortable and done. And then if you're receiving, keep the knees bent, but walk the feet out a little wider towards the edges of your mat. There you go. Now, as the giver, go ahead and step in so that you can kind of straddle right at this area, right at the inner knee, right? Or their outer knees, rather. So then now I'm going to back up so our calves are touching. And I'm backing up and keeping my knees bent. And I'll hinge my hips back a little bit. So I'm tractioning out his spine. And I'm not going to go anywhere because he's got his feet planted and we're locked in. Then Don can now, or your partner can reach your arms overhead to really absorb or really feel that nice side waist opening. Feeling this? So feel good on your lower back? He says it's great. I don't think I'll be able to get on my back body and get my fair share of stretching. But luckily we will because I know your partner has to. Holding it for another breath. Receiver moves first. Hinge forward to release a little bit. Step out gently. Remove the prop away. Set it to the side. From here, now go ahead and then reach for your partner's ankles. Lift the legs up. And just simply sway them in unison. Gently, side to side. All right. Now listen carefully. This is another one of those little optional poses here. So watch first before you do. I'm going to have those of you that are on your back cross at your ankles like you're coming into a cross-legged seated position, and that your knees come out wide. There you go. As the giver, you'll step forward, so now your shins touch each other's shins. Again, watch first. You can just skip it and roll out of it, and we switch out. Otherwise, I'm going to bend my knees, hinging forward a bit. We'll reach forearm to forearm. Together we count, and on the inhale, pull your partner up. So again, watch. 1, 2, 3, and up. That was good. So if you want to try it at home, again, listen to the cues. Those of you on your back, cross at your ankles first. Those of you giving it out, walk forward, connect at the shins. Reach for the forearms. Look at each other, trust each other. Count it 1, 2, 3, and then pull up. Go, darling, go, darling. Yeah. Yeah, nice job. All right, so now you get to switch out. We'll start lying down on our backs. Right leg up in the air. Left knee bent. Again, just start with the flexion and the extension of the ankle. So just like, you can back off. You don't have to be that close. Yeah. And just flexion, extension, flexion, extension. All right. And then go ahead and keep that foot flexed. Use the J part of your right hand to cup the heel. Bring your left forearm on the sole of the foot. And then from here, as the forearm presses down against the foot, the hand that's in that J shape at the heel is pulling the heel upward at the same time. Then the giver can start to lean weight forward, again, just kind of adding a little bit more on this hamstring stretch. Now, I have a hamstring insertion injury, so I'm going to say that's my point. Stop there, and that feels good for me. And then just breathe into the shape. Then talk to your partner if you need maybe a little bit more pressure against the sole of the foot. There you go. Yep. Pull one more breath. And if you're the giver, slowly walk back to release. Okay, come into reclined pigeon pose. Cross your right ankle over your left thigh. And then lift your left foot up. And then your giver will place that foot against their own left thigh, right? Okay, so once you're here, again, if you're the giver, stagger out your stance. That's going to give you a little bit more leverage. And you can start here where the giver leans in and then applies. That could be just enough, right? Pause right there. If you feel you can move a little bit deeper, then now the giver will walk in a bit more to hinge at the hips, placing one hand to the knee, the other hand against the foot. So the hand that's holding the knee is gently guiding the knee towards them, as now you're bringing weight in towards me at the same time. All right, that's good. One more breath. Again, release with the knee and the foot first, then the giver slowly comes out of the pose. All right, from here, keep the knee bent, extend your left leg out. The giver will hinge forward, holding on to the shin, and then just leaning in to bring that thigh closer towards your right chest or towards the receiver's right chest or rib cage. Another breath. And then gently release. Go ahead and keep the knee bent for your spinal twist. So help your partner guide the knee over. If you're receiving like me, cactus out your arms or extend the arms out wide to the sides. So if you're the giver, again, locate the top rim of the pelvis, right? And you'll place your right hand at that rim of the pelvis. Again, kind of cup it. It's almost like it's just easy for you to hold right there with your hand. Then the left hand is going to reach up to press against the shoulder head. Again, avoid any part of the chest or the rib cage. The hand that's on the shoulder head gently presses down. The hands that's at the rim of the pelvis will draw the pelvis towards the toes. to again feel that the tractioning out from the spine and a nice stretching through the low back. One more breath. And then slowly, again, releasing out of that. If you were getting the stretch, come back center. Hug both knees in for just a moment before we switch sides. And then extend the left leg up. Go ahead and keep your right foot bent. If you're the giver, again, do the flexion and extension of the ankle. Point and flex, point and flex. And then keeping the foot flexed, again, here it's the J shape of your left hand. Yes, J shape of the left hand. Hooks right at the heel. You'll notice that you'll just kind of hold it pretty easily. And then he'll bring his right forearm right onto the sole of my foot. So again, the action here, the J shape that's holding the heel, he'll gently pull upward as the forearm is pushing down against the sole of the foot. Then to add a bit more, maybe the giver is leaning in a little bit so that leg can move closer towards the chest. Again, talk to your partner, let them know where that point is to stop, and I'll just say, hey, let's just stop right here. This is good. Take another breath. All right, if you're the giver and you've leaned your weight in, slowly back your weight out first, and then slowly release. Reclined pigeon pose, cross the ankle over the right thigh. Lift your right foot up and place your right foot flat against your partner's left thigh bone. Again, if you're the giver, stagger out your stance with the knees bent, and then just play with the idea of just leaning in. Leaning in, so now the receiver will feel the stretch. Again, that's good, stay there. Otherwise, to go deeper, your giver will hinge forward to hold your foot and the knee. Then once you're set, again, the action is opposition. So the leg and the foot are connected is going to lean towards me. As you hold the knee, he's going to bring my knee towards him. Hold. Again, release the foot and the knee first. The giver will now go ahead and hinge forward to place the hands against the shin. Make sure you're not holding the knee joint. Hold the shin. And then the giver will lean in to guide your leg, or if you're like me, the receiver, draw it towards my left rib cage. And then we'll create a spinal twist from here. So the giver will then guide the knee across the receiver's body. And then the receiver will cactus out the arms to the side or extend them out. And then again, the action, hand at the top rim of the pelvis. Left hand to the pelvis, right hand at the shoulder head. And then again, opposition. Think like you're just pulling a rubber band, but this top hand holding the shoulders, pressing down, as now you're stretching the rubber band, that rim of the pelvis towards the toes. Again, it should feel nice. Again, talk to your partner. Like, yeah, you know what? I don't like that. It doesn't feel right. So maybe back off of that, right? Just again, communication is key. Take another breath. Okay, if you're the giver, slowly release your hands. Keep your knees bent when you slowly come out of the pose. If you're the receiver, go ahead and roll onto your back. Take a moment, hug your knees into your chest. And then we'll set the feet flat. Again, knock the inner knees in. If you need to, place a prop in between the thighs. It's just so like that bone-on-bone feeling is not too uncomfortable here. And then if you're the receiver, the knees are knocked in, so now walk your feet out towards the edges of your mat. Right? The giver now will step into you so that now you'll connect the calves to touch. Giver, bend your knees. Sit your sit bones back. Sit back as if you're coming into a chair. And then if you're receiving this, your feet are planted. Do not release those feet because your giver is just going to flop back, right? So again, there's this idea of trust with each other. So as the receiver of this stretch now, you should feel this traction of the low back. Maybe emphasize it more by extending your arms alongside your ears. Both of you should be breathing deeply here. How about one more breath? Okay, the person who should move first is the giver. So go ahead and lean your way forward again. Keep the knees bent as you slowly come up and then step out. Okay, take the prop away. If you're the receiver, happy baby, your legs out. And then if you're the giver, just place your hands on these. We're not going to place the feet. Hands onto the soles of your feet and then just guide the thighs outside the rib cage. So you just kind of, we all can do this on our own, but again, it's just kind of nice to have a partner help you to get that stretch in through your inner thighs and through your hips. And then go ahead and bring the legs in. Hold your partner's ankles and then extend your partner's legs straight. And keeping the legs together, just gentle windshield wiper of the legs side to side. Go ahead and cross your partner's ankles. I'll do this one this way. Yeah, cross your partner's ankles. Bring the feet down to the mat. Make sure the knees are wide. Then the giver will walk in. Again, connect your shins to touch. The giver will bend the knees. That's going to protect the back. And then reach up to grab forearm to forearm. Again, look at each other. Count here. Trust it. Otherwise, don't do it. But count. 3, 2, 1, and up. Yeah! Nice job. All right, so that's it for our practice today. Go ahead and give your partner a good hug. Give him a high five, a good namaste. And thanks so much, guys. Stay safe, stay healthy.